Chapter 1. The Storm. The wind shifted before the clouds did. Gale felt it in the rigging. Not heard, not seen, but wrong. A tremor in the air like a plucked string pulled too tight. He stood at the helm of the Weave, eyes on the horizon, one hand resting lightly against the worn wood. The crew moved easily around him. They trusted the sky because he trusted it. But the pressure in his chest said otherwise.
"Reef the mainsail,"
he called, voice calm but firm. Now! A few glances upward, the sky still bruised but not yet broken, yet no one questioned him. They moved. He had learned long ago that storms rarely announce themselves with thunder first. They whisper, and he had always been good at listening. By the time the first crack of lightning split the distance, they were already turning south to avoid the shoals. Almost. Through the sheets of rain, a dark shape emerged, wrong against the water's rhythm. A ship. Broken mast, listing hard to port, too close to the rocks.
"Gods,"
murmured one of the deckhands. Gale didn't curse, he didn't hesitate.
"Bring us about. Drop the longboat."
"Captain, the current..."
"I know the current."
He always did. The sea surged like a living thing beneath them, but he moved through it with steady precision, reading its pull the way others read ink. By the time he reached the wreckage, splintered wood and torn canvas churned in violent foam. He scanned once, twice. Then he saw her. Half tangled in rigging, dark hair plastered across her face, fine fabric soaked and ruined. One hand still clenched around something. Pride, perhaps. Or instinct. He waded in without ceremony. Cold struck like a blade. The current tried to claim him. He adjusted. When he lifted her free, she was lighter than he expected. Alive. He didn't think of destiny, or fate, or miracles. He thought, someone's daughter. Someone's responsibility. Now mine. When she woke, it was to stillness. Not the violent lurch of the storm. Not the scream of splitting timber. Stillness. The air smelled faintly of brine and something warm. Herbs, perhaps. There was canvas above her. Real wood beams, not splintered wreckage. She inhaled sharply. The memory returned in fragments. Lightning, shouting, the deck tilting, her brother's hand slipping from hers. She sat up too quickly. A wave of dizziness forced her back down.
"Easy there."
The voice was warm, educated, close. She turned. A man sat beside the narrow berth, a cup of tea steady between his hands. Dark hair was tied loosely back at the nape of his neck, beard neatly kept, sleeves rolled to reveal forearms marked with rope burn and sun. His shirt hung open at the throat, damp curls clinging to skin that had seen far more light than any courtier's ever would. He was not dressed as a servant, nor as a noble. He did not bow.
"Where is my father?"
she asked immediately. The man did not answer. Her stomach dropped.
"My brother?"
Silence. Not evasive. Heavy. His eyes were steady and there was no pity in them. Only truth waiting to be spoken.
"We found no others,"
he said gently. The words did not strike all at once. They settled, like ash. Her breath shallowed. She stared at him as though he had spoken in another language.
"No,"
she said very quietly.
"You must have missed."
"We searched until the tide turned."
He replied.
"Twice."
His tone was not defensive, not proud, simply factual. Something inside her fractured, not loudly, but with terrible precision. She pressed her hand to her mouth. He did not touch her. He had learned long ago that grief is a thing that must move through a person like weather, not be interrupted. In Waterdeep, As a boy prodigy surrounded by tutors and acclaim, he had watched scholars rush to solve discomfort, fix the equation, correct the flaw, mend the bruise with explanation. The sea had taught him otherwise. Some forces are endured. He rose quietly and placed the tea within her reach.
It will steady you.
He said.
There is honey in it.
She did not look at him.
Am I the only one?
She asked at last.
Yes.
The word did not waver. She stared at her hands, raw from rope burns she did not remember earning. The signet ring was gone. He noticed the flicker in her gaze.
It is secured,
He said.
along with what little could be salvaged.
That at least seemed to anchor her, not comfort. Anchor. After a long moment, she lifted her chin.
Where am I?
Aboard the Weave.
Her eyes finally focused fully on him.
The weave.
She repeated. He inclined his head slightly.
A fondness from my youth.
He said, and there was the faintest ghost of something, a different life in his expression.
You are a sailor?
She asked, and there was confusion in it. He did not look like the men who crewed merchant vessels.
I am.
He answered. He did not elaborate. He rarely did. The tutors in Waterdeep had once called him prodigious, exceptional, destined. They had spoken of the weave as an academic lattice to be mastered. But he had stood on docks as a young man and felt something larger than lecture halls, a current beneath everything that no spellbook described. He had chosen this instead. Chosen wind over applause. Chosen uncertainty over expectation. And now here she was, silk turned salt-stiff, legacy turned wreckage, staring at him as though the world had tilted. He met her gaze evenly.
My name is Gale.
She swallowed.
Lady Samantha.
A pause.
Sam.
He said gently, as though testing it. Her eyes flashed. Not anger, not yet.
I prefer Lady Samantha.
A small nod.
Very well.
He did not smile this time. Outside, the deck creaked. The sea had calmed. Inside, something far less predictable had begun. Chapter 2. The next morning. Morning came gently. No screaming wind, no splintering wood. Just steady light filtering through canvas and the rhythmic hush of water against hull. Samantha had not slept much. Grief came in waves, sudden, suffocating, then eerily distant. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw the deck tilting, heard her brother shouting her name. Lady Samantha, she corrected herself. Titles mattered. They were structure. A knock came at the cabin door, not tentative, not brash, simply measured.
It's unlatched.
Came the familiar voice. The door opened and Gale stepped inside carrying folded fabric over one arm. Not silk. Not linen. Rough-woven wool trousers, a loose shirt, practical, plain. He set them neatly at the foot of her berth.
You'll find these easier on deck.
He said. She stared at the clothing as though he had placed a stable rag before her.
I will not be wearing that.
His brow lifted slightly.
It will be cold this morning.
I have gowns.
She replied sharply.
Proper ones.
Salt stiffened and torn.
He said mildly.
And unsuited to climbing rigging.
I do not climb rigging.
The corner of his mouth curved, faint, controlled.
On this vessel,
He said evenly.
we all do.
Her spine straightened.
And who precisely decided that?
He regarded her calmly.
The sea.
That answer did not satisfy her.
I wish to speak with your captain.
A pause.
You are.
She did not catch it.
Who is in command here?
She pressed, irritation sharpening her tone.
Surely the captain would understand that I am not some deckhand to be handed scraps of canvas.
His expression did not change, but something like amusement flickered behind his eyes.
I assure you,
He said gently.
no scraps were harmed in the making of those trousers.
Her face flushed.
This is absurd. I am Lady Samantha Alderwin. My father commands lands that feed 3 counties. I will not be addressed as though I...
A knock interrupted her. 3 firm raps. Gale turned slightly toward the door.
Yes?
It opened just enough for a young sailor to lean in. He did not look at Samantha.
Apologies, Captain Dekarios.
He said with quiet respect.
Wind shifting north-northeast. Thought you'd want to know before we adjust the mainsail.
Thank you, Thomas.
Gale replied.
Hold steady for now. I'll be up shortly.
Yes, Captain?
The door shut. Silence filled the cabin. Samantha's mouth was still half open from her last indignation. Slowly, very slowly, her gaze lifted to his. Captain Dekarios. Understanding dawned in stages. He had never claimed it, never corrected her assumption, never demanded acknowledgement. He simply was.
You...
She began, then stopped. He folded his hands loosely behind his back, posture relaxed.
Yes.
Heat flooded her cheeks.
I was not informed.
She managed stiffly.
You did not ask.
He replied, not unkindly. She looked at the sailor's clothes again. Then back at him.
You allowed me to...
To what?
He asked softly. She searched for the word. Belittle. Dismiss. Misjudge. He spared her the effort.
It is understandable.
He said.
You have endured much.
That gentleness somehow made it worse.
I would have expected...
She began, then faltered.
Deference.
He offered. Her chin lifted defensively.
Courtesy.
You are being shown courtesy,
He said evenly.
the same as every soul aboard this ship.
There was no mockery in it. Only fact. Outside, the wind shifted again. He moved toward the door, then paused.
If you wish to speak further,
He said.
you are welcome on deck, in sailor's clothes.
He left her with the folded garments and the echo of the title she had just learned. Captain. For the first time since waking, Samantha felt something other than grief. It was not humiliation. It was recalibration. Chapter 3. On deck. The sailor's clothes fit. Poorly. The trousers were too long. The shirt hung shapeless and coarse against her skin. The fabric smelled faintly of salt and sun and someone else's labour. She told herself she wore them strategically, not because he had instructed it, because observation required mobility. Lady Samantha Alderwin did not limp onto decks in torn silk. She stepped out of the cabin with her chin high. Morning light broke clean across the sea, bright and unashamed. The deck moved beneath her in a steady rhythm she had not yet learned. The crew noticed her. They did not stare. They nodded. One even offered a small, respectful incline of his head before returning to his work. No smirks, no whispers. That unsettled her more than mockery might have. At the helm stood Gale. Captain Dekarios. Sleeves rolled again, one hand resting loosely against the wheel. He was speaking quietly to a deckhand, listening more than instructing. He did not turn immediately when she emerged. He had already known she would.
How kind of you to join us.
He said at last, eyes still on the horizon.
I am here to observe.
She replied crisply.
Excellent.
He said.
You may begin with that coil.
She followed his gaze. A length of rope lay beside a cleat.
You expect me to?
Yes.
Her jaw tightened. Before she could reply, something brushed past her shoulder. A flick of wings. She startled. A sleek, winged creature alighted atop the railing. Feline in shape, feathered at the shoulders, long tail curling with precise elegance. Golden eyes assessed her openly. It spoke.
Well, she does look better vertical.
Samantha froze. The creature blinked slowly.
Still damp, though.
Gale did not look surprised.
Tara,
He said mildly.
we have a guest.
I noticed.
The Tressim replied.
She's glaring at Rope as though it personally offended her.
A few nearby sailors suppressed smiles. Samantha stared at Gale.
You keep that aboard?
That
Tara said, fluffing her wings.
keeps him alive.
Gale sighed softly.
She exaggerates.
Wildly.
Tara agreed. Then to Samantha.
He does this thing where he pretends storms are conversations.
They are conversations.
Gale murmured.
With you.
Tara shot back. Samantha looked between them. Magic. Casual. Unhidden. Not paraded,
Your ship is unusual.
she said carefully. Gale's gaze shifted to her at last.
So I've been told.
Tara tilted her head.
She'll last a week.
The Tressim declared.
2 if she stops announcing herself every time she breathes.
Samantha's spine straightened.
I am Lady.
Samantha?
Gale interrupted gently.
Yes.
He handed her the rope.
On this ship,
He said evenly.
we learn by doing.
The wind caught her hair. The sea stretched endless in every direction. For the first time since the wreck, Samantha felt something unfamiliar stirring beneath her indignation. Not grief, not anger. Possibility. Chapter 4. Rope and reality. The rope was heavier than it looked. Samantha refused to acknowledge this aloud. She knelt stiffly beside the coil, lifted one end, and attempted to replicate the looping motion she had seen moments earlier. The rope immediately rebelled. It twisted, slid, fell out of her grasp, and smacked lightly against her shin. A nearby sailor coughed into his sleeve. Tara, perched overhead, did not cough.
Oh, excellent.
The Tressim announced.
She's fighting it.
I am not fighting it.
Samantha snapped.
The rope disagrees.
She gathered it again, this time with more force. The ship shifted beneath her and she lurched sideways, catching herself against the rail with a sharp inhale. No one laughed. That was worse,
Would you like assistance?
asked a young deckhand. Thomas, she recalled dimly, voice carefully neutral.
I would not.
She replied. She absolutely would. She attempted the knot again. This time she succeeded in tying something. It was not a knot. It was a declaration of war. Gale, still at the helm, observed without comment. Tara squinted downward.
I believe you've invented a new maritime hazard.
I know how to tie knots.
Samantha insisted.
Do you?
Tara asked.
I have tied sashes.
Thomas bit his lip heroically. The wind shifted. The coil loosened again and unspooled dramatically across the deck, sliding like a living thing toward a puddle. Samantha lunged to catch it. Her foot slipped. She did not fall, quite, but she did wind up seated rather abruptly on the deck, rope in her lap, dignity somewhere near the stern. There was a long pause. Then Gale's voice drifted across the space, warm but even.
Thomas.
Yes, Captain?
Show her the bowline.
Thomas moved instantly, kneeling beside her without a trace of superiority.
It makes a loop that won't slip.
He explained quietly.
Good one to start with.
Samantha did not look at Gale. She did look at Thomas. He was younger than her brother had been. The thought landed unexpectedly. Her hands steadied.
Again.
She said. Thomas demonstrated slowly. She followed. This time the rope obeyed. Not perfectly, but sufficiently.
There?
Thomas said, a small grin breaking through.
You've done it.
Tara fluffed her wings.
She's house-trained.
Samantha glared upward. Gale finally stepped closer. He crouched beside her, examining the knot with calm precision.
It will hold,
He said simply. Not praise, not condescension, and assessment. She swallowed. The wind caught the loose strands of her hair, now hopelessly unstyled. Salt clung to her sleeves. Her palms were reddened. She looked nothing like Lady Samantha Alderwin. The realization struck harder than the fall had.
I require air.
She said stiffly, rising too quickly.
You are outside.
Tara observed helpfully. Samantha ignored her and walked carefully back toward the cabin. No one stopped her. No one mocked her retreat. Gale watched her go. Tara hopped down to the rail beside him.
She will either leave tomorrow,
Tara said.
or stay forever.
Gale's eyes remained on the cabin door.
She's grieving.
He replied.
So are you.
Tara said lightly. He did not answer that. Chapter 5. What the Sea Took. The cabin felt smaller than it had that morning, or perhaps she had grown. Samantha shut the door firmly behind her and leaned against it, as though holding something at bay. Her hands stung. When she looked down, faint red lines marked her palms, thin parallel impressions from rope fibers. She flexed her fingers experimentally. They trembled. Ridiculous. She crossed to the small wash basin and poured water over her hands. Salt and grit swirled away. The sting sharpened, then dulled.
You are Lady Samantha Alderwin.
She murmured to her reflection in the small clouded mirror. The woman who stared back wore ill-fitting sailor's clothes and had wind-tangled hair. A faint smudge streaked her cheek. She did not look like a duchess in waiting. She looked young. She lifted her chin.
You will not cry.
Crying was private, controlled, brief. Crying was not something done because rope had defeated you. Her throat tightened. The image of her brother kneeling beside her, hands guiding hers over ledger books, rose unbidden.
You must understand the accounts, Sam.
He had teased.
Father won't always be here to explain them.
The deck tilting. His hand slipping. She squeezed her eyes shut.
You will not cry.
She repeated. A tear fell anyway. She inhaled sharply, offended by it. Another followed, then another. The sound that left her was small at first, almost angry. She pressed her fist against her mouth to silence it. It did not help. The sob came from somewhere deep and ungoverned, tearing through posture and title alike. She slid down the door until she sat on the floor, hands curled in her lap, shoulders shaking. Alone? The word rang louder than the storm had. Alone. There was no father to consult, no brother to shoulder duty beside her, no household waiting to absorb her weakness. Just wind, salt, and a captain who had looked at her as though she were neither fragile nor superior. She wept harder for that. Chapter 6. What the sea gives. Gale did not look toward the cabin door again. He had already looked twice. Tara noticed.
She tied the knot.
Tara said from her perch on the rail.
She did.
You're worried.
I am observant.
Tara's tail flicked.
She reminds you.
Gale's jaw shifted faintly. In Waterdeep, grief had been handled differently. When he announced he would leave the academy, leave the trajectory that had been meticulously arranged, his mentors had smiled thinly. Of course you will reconsider. Of course this is a phase. When he did not reconsider, the invitations stopped. So did the visits. So did the warmth. Only his mother had remained steady. Disappointed, yes. But steady. He had learned then that expectation can feel like affection until you refuse it. Samantha carried expectation like armor. It was cracking. He recognized the sound.
You cannot fix this for her.
Tara said quietly.
I know.
You want to.
He did not deny it. He had wanted someone to knock on his door in those early weeks after he left the academy. Someone to say, I see what you lost. No one had. He had built something new instead. Stronger. But built alone. He did not wish that solitude on her. He hesitated only a moment before crossing the deck. The knock was gentle, not commanding, not urgent. 3 measured taps. Inside, silence shifted. He did not call her Lady Samantha.
Samantha?
He said softly.
May I enter?
There was a pause. The door opened only part way. Her composure had been rebuilt, carefully, deliberately, but not seamlessly. Her eyes were faintly reddened. Her posture was impeccable.
I am quite well.
She said. He inclined his head slightly.
I suspected you might not be.
A flicker, irritation, gratitude, something unnamed passed across her face.
You are kind to inquire.
She replied, tone formal once more.
But I assure you, Captain, I am entirely capable of managing my own difficulties.
He did not challenge that.
I do not doubt it.
Silence stretched between them, not hostile, not comfortable. Simply aware. He glanced briefly at her hands, now clean but still marked faintly with rope lines.
It was a respectable bowline.
He offered lightly. Her lips pressed together.
It was functional.
She corrected.
Yes.
Another quiet beat. He stepped back half a pace, offering her space without turning away.
I can leave you,
He said.
if that would be preferable.
The words were simple. No wounded pride. No insistence. She studied him. If he left, she could resume her composure uninterrupted. If he stayed, she would have to exist in the presence of someone who had seen her eyes swollen from tears.
I do not require supervision.
She said carefully.
I am not supervising.
That earned the faintest, unwilling breath of something almost like a laugh. She looked at the open deck beyond his shoulder. Sunlight, sky, movement. Then back at him.
You may stay,
She said at last.
if you wish.
Not invitation. Allowance. He did not smile broadly, only a small shift at the corner of his mouth.
Very well.
He remained just inside the doorway, not intruding further into the cabin. For several moments neither spoke. The air held something delicate and contained. Attraction perhaps, but restrained, as though both understood that anything fragile introduced too quickly might fracture.
You are not alone here.
He said finally, not looking directly at her.
Even if it feels otherwise.
Her throat tightened.
I am accustomed to responsibility,
She replied, voice steady again.
not solitude.
I am familiar with both.
He said quietly. Their eyes met then. Not as captain and passenger. Not as aristocrat and sailor. But as two people who had stepped outside the lives designed for them. She straightened, the moment passing before it deepened too far.
Thank you.
She said, softer now. He inclined his head.
Lady Samantha.
She hesitated.
Captain Dekarios.
A faint pause.
Gale.
he corrected gently. Her gaze held his a fraction longer than propriety required.
That would be premature.
The corner of his mouth curved.
As you wish.
The door closed and Samantha shut her eyes. That night the sea was silent. She stood in her father's great hall, the long tables set as though for a feast. Candles burned steadily. The banners of Alduin hung heavy and unmoving. Her brother stood at the far end of the room.
Come.
He called. She tried to walk toward him. The floor shifted beneath her feet. Wood planks replaced marble. Salt crept across the banners, staining them dark. The tables slid away like decks tilting under storm. Her brother did not move.
You must understand the accounts, Sam.
He said again. The hall dissolved into open water. She stood alone on a narrow strip of deck that narrowed further with each step. Wind rose, but it did not frighten her. Somewhere behind her, steady and unhurried, a voice said,
The sea does not take, it transforms.
She turned. No one stood there. Only stars. And beneath them, a ship cutting cleanly through black water. When she woke, her hands were curled as though gripping rope. Chapter 7. Learning the current. The first morning she woke before the bell, it was by accident. The second time, it was not. Samantha began to learn the sounds of the weave, the difference between sail strain and hull groan, between rope sliding and rope failing. She learned that dawn on the sea arrived in gradients, not declarations. She still wore the sailor's clothes. They fit better now, not because they had changed, because she had. She burned her hands again on rope the third day. This time she did not drop it. Thomas corrected her grip without ceremony. She thanked him, stiffly at first, then without stiffness. Tara observed from the rail.
She improves,
The Tressym conceded.
She listens.
Gale replied.
You're staring again.
I am assessing.
You are staring.
By the fifth day, she could tie a bowline without thinking. By the seventh, she asked why that knot held under strain. Gale explained, briefly, about tension and load and distribution. She asked a follow-up question. He blinked.
You wish to understand the mechanics.
If I am to rely upon them,
She said evenly.
I prefer comprehension to blind faith.
Something like approval warmed his expression.
Very well.
Tara rolled onto her back atop a coil of rope.
Ah, she's curious. That's how it starts.
The crew stopped nodding politely. They began speaking to her. Not formally. Not deferentially. Normally. She learned names, remembered them. On the 10th day, she noticed a fraying line before Thomas did.
Should that be replaced?
She asked. Thomas examined it.
Good eye.
Gale heard. He did not comment. But later that evening, when the line was replaced, he glanced at her and inclined his head once. Acknowledgement, not praise. It mattered more. She still corrected sailors who forgot her title. Less frequently. Eventually, not at all. The first time someone called her Sam in passing, she almost objected. She did not. Tara noticed. Oh, progress, the Tressym murmured. At night, she began remaining on deck longer, not hovering. Simply present. She learned the constellations by name. Not the romantic stories. The coordinates. Gale watched her trace Orion in the air with steady fingers.
You've done this before.
He said quietly.
No,
She replied.
but I have been instructed.
He did not smile broadly. Only slightly. The crew began to notice something else. Their captain, who rarely lingered, lingered. He did not hover. He did not correct unnecessarily. But when Samantha climbed rigging for the first time, he happened to be below. When she steadied a sail in shifting wind, he happened to be watching. When she laughed, once, unexpectedly, at something Tara said, he happened to turn toward the sound. Thomas noticed. So did the others. No one commented, except Tara.
She will either break your heart,
The Tressim said one evening.
or improve it.
Gale did not look away from the horizon.
That is not how hearts function.
Tara blinked slowly.
Captain,
She said dryly.
you named your ship after invisible connective magic.
He exhaled quietly.
She is grieving,
And?
and I will not mistake proximity for permanence.
Tara's tail flicked,
Wise.
she said, then softer.
Unfortunate.
By the end of the second week, Samantha no longer looked rescued. She looked placed. Not entirely at ease, but no longer adrift. And when she stood at the rail at dusk, wind in her hair, hands steady against polished wood, she did not look like a duchess displaced. She looked like someone learning the language of the sea. Gale saw it. So did the crew, and though no one said it aloud, the weave had begun to claim her. Chapter 8. Constellations. The sea was quiet that night. Not empty, never empty, but settled, as though listening. Samantha leaned against the rail, arms folded loosely, watching the sky unfurl in indigo layers. She no longer needed to steady herself against the motion. Behind her the crew moved in low murmurs. Gale approached without ceremony, 2 cups in hand.
You have begun anticipating Orion before I point him out.
He observed. She accepted the tea.
I study when instructed.
Ah, so this is my fault.
Entirely.
He smiled faintly and stepped beside her. Above them, stars gathered like scattered salt,
That one
he said, gesturing upward.
is Arathiel's lantern. Sailors once believed it marked safe return.
And does it?
She asked. He considered.
It marks north. Whether one returns safely depends on other choices.
She turned toward him slightly.
And you? Do you believe in safe return?
He met her gaze, steady, unguarded.
I believe in navigation.
She laughed softly. The sound surprised them both. They stood closer than usual, not touching, close enough that the warmth from his arm brushed the air near hers. She watched the sky. Then him.
You were right.
She said quietly.
About?
That I did not know what I was capable of.
He did not respond immediately. The silence felt intentional.
Have you been happy here?
He asked instead. It was not a flirtation. It was an evaluation. She hesitated. The truth rose before she could reshape it.
I did not know how happy I could be,
She admitted.
or how grateful I would be to have met certain people.
Her gaze did not leave his face. There it is, the moment seemed to say. The space between them narrowed, not physically, but with awareness. She leaned a fraction closer. His eyes flicked briefly to her mouth. Then back to her eyes. Time stretched, wind shifted, and he stepped back. Subtle, controlled,
I'm glad.
he said warmly.
We make land within 2 days.
The words struck harder than any storm. She blinked.
Land.
Yes, a port where we can arrange transport for you. You must be eager to return to solid ground.
Her chest tightened. Return. As though she had been merely waiting,
I hope
he continued gently.
that this has not been too difficult a passage for you.
Difficult. She straightened imperceptibly.
It has been instructive.
She replied. He nodded, satisfied.
I would not have presumed you intended to remain longer than necessary.
Of course he would not presume. Of course he would not mistake kindness for attachment. He was too honorable for that.
She thought, too careful. The warmth that had bloomed in her chest cooled rapidly into something brittle.
I appreciate your hospitality,
she said, voice regaining formal edges. He studied her expression, sensing the shift but not yet understanding it.
You will do well on land,
he added.
You have a leader's instincts.
The compliment felt like dismissal. She inclined her head.
Captain.
She stepped away first this time. Tara, watching from the rail, tilted her head.
Oh,
the Tressym murmured. Gale remained at the rail a moment longer. Something had changed. He could feel it, like a current shifting beneath the hull. But he could not yet see the rocks. She inclined her head with careful precision.
Thank you for the passage, Captain Dekarios,
she said, the words smooth as polished silver.
It has been most educational.
Too smooth. He felt it.
You are welcome,
he replied questioningly. She did not linger. She turned, posture impeccable, stride measured, and crossed the deck toward the cabin. If one had looked only at her back, one would have seen composure, chin level, shoulders squared, pace steady. Only those closest would have noticed the way her hands clenched briefly at her sides and how tears fell down her cheeks. Thomas watched her go. So did two others. A murmur passed between them, not mocking, concerned. No one addressed the captain. They respected him too much. The cabin door closed with quiet finality. Gale remained at the rail. The sea had not changed. Yet something felt misaligned. Tara descended from the rigging in a single fluid motion and landed beside him.
you are
She said flatly.
an idiot.
He did not look at her.
I beg your pardon.
You stepped in it.
I am unsure what it you're referring to.
She was going to kiss you.
His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly.
That is an assumption.
It is an observation.
He finally turned.
I did not wish to presume.
You did not wish to risk.
The words landed cleanly. He exhaled slowly.
She has lost her family. Her future is uncertain. I will not complicate that with projection.
Tara's wings rustled.
You think affection is a complication,
I think it is powerful.
and you think she does not already know that.
He fell silent. Tara's golden eyes narrowed.
She leaned towards you.
Yes, but
She told you she had been happy.
yes, she did.
Good.
He glanced down at her.
It means you care.
He looked toward the cabin door. The crew pretended not to watch.
Go.
Tara said simply. He hesitated only a heartbeat this time. Then he crossed the deck. He did not knock immediately. He stood outside the cabin door listening. Not for sobbing, not for collapse, but for the absence of sound. He knocked, this time less measured. There was a pause. The door opened. She had rebuilt herself again. Her eyes were bright but dry, her spine straight.
Captain.
She said. Not cold. Controlled,
I owe you an apology.
he began. That caught her off guard.
I did not intend to presume your departure was merely logistical,
He continued carefully.
nor did I mean to imply that your time here was incidental.
She watched him, unreadable.
In Waterdeep,
He went on, voice steadier than he felt.
I was trained to be something very specific, a prodigy, a future archmage. It was decided.
He had not spoken of this in years.
I chose otherwise, and when I did, many who had praised me withdrew. I learned that giving more than one receives can leave one
He faltered.
exposed.
Her composure flickered.
I have been cautious,
He finished quietly.
perhaps excessively so.
Silence stretched between them.
You thought I would leave.
She said at last.
I thought you should have the freedom to.
Her breath trembled.
And you believed that required you to Withdraw first?
I believed it required clarity.
And what is clear now?
She asked, stepping closer. He did not retreat.
That I misjudged the moment.
Her hands lifted before she seemed to decide to move them. She took his hands, not delicately, not formally, but firmly, as though anchoring herself. His fingers tightened instinctively around hers.
You are not the only one who is afraid.
She said, tears finally slipping free.
I believed you did not feel as I do.
His throat tightened.
And how do you feel?
He asked softly. She did not answer in words. She stepped closer still, close enough that the space between them dissolved entirely. Her eyes held his, grief and strength and want intertwined. He leaned in slowly, giving her time, giving her choice. She closed the distance. The kiss was not tentative. It was careful and then certain. Her breath caught against his. Something in her unfolded, not surrender, not weakness, but release. Like a flower that had been braced against wind and finally found sun. His hand rose to her cheek, thumb brushing salt that had nothing to do with the sea. He did not deepen the kiss immediately. He steadied it, anchored it. When they parted, their foreheads remained close.
You are not alone.
He murmured. She exhaled against his lips.
Neither are you.
Outside, the sea kept its rhythm. Inside the cabin, something far quieter and far more dangerous had begun. The kiss did not remain careful for long. It deepened, not urgently, not desperately, but with the slow certainty of something that had been building in silence for weeks. Samantha's hands moved from his to his shoulders, gripping as though to confirm he was real. He felt the tension in her, the part of her that still expected him to withdraw. He didn't. His hand slid to the small of her back, drawing her closer, not to claim, but to answer. When she broke the kiss, it was only to breathe.
This is unwise,
she whispered.
Perhaps.
He breathed. She did not step away, neither did he. The sea rocked the hull gently beneath them, steady as breath. He brushed a strand of wind-tangled hair from her face.
You are certain?
He asked quietly. Her answer was not coy.
I have spent my life doing what was expected,
she said.
I would like for once to choose.
That was enough. He kissed her again, slower this time, exploring, learning the cadence of her breath, the way her fingers tightened when he deepened the pressure, the soft sound she made when he traced the line of her jaw. It was not frantic. It was discovery. When he lifted her easily and she laughed, startled, delighted, the sound was freer than anything he had yet heard from her.
Captain,
she murmured against his mouth.
Gale.
He breathed. She smiled against his lips.
Gale,
she whispered reverently. When she said his name, Gale, it did not sound like a title or correction. It sounded like an invocation. The syllable lingered between them, soft as breath, and something in his chest answered it. He drew back just enough to look at her fully. Wind and salt had changed her. The sharp polish of aristocracy had softened into something warmer, more elemental. There was strength in her shoulders now, steadiness in her gaze. His fingers found the ties at his collar. He hesitated, not from doubt, but from care. She noticed. Her hands rose between them.
May I?
She asked quietly. He nodded. Her fingers worked slowly at the laces of his shirt. They were calloused now, faintly, from rope and deck work. He felt the difference. It stirred something deep and grounding in him. The ties loosened, the fabric parted. Beneath it, his chest was strong from years at sea. Sun-warmed skin stretched over muscle shape, not by vanity, but by labour. Faint scars traced his ribs and shoulders, stories of rigging snaps and weather misjudged. She traced one lightly.
You do not lecture about these,
she murmured.
They are not theoretical,
he replied. Her lips curved. She pushed the shirt from his shoulders slowly, reverently, as though unveiling something sacred rather than simply uncovering skin. When his hands moved to her clothes, they did so with the same deliberate care. The sailor's shirt slipped free first, coarse fabric falling away to reveal the softness it had concealed. Her shape was not delicate porcelain. It was living, warm, strong in its own right. He paused, not out of surprise but appreciation.
You are extraordinary.
He said, not as flattery, as fact. Colour bloomed in her cheeks.
You are biased.
Undeniably.
His fingers brushed down her arms, memorizing the contrast between silk-raised nobility and salt-tempered resilience. The ill-fitting trousers were next, untied gently, eased away without haste. There was no fumbling, no urgency, only discovery. When she stood before him fully herself, no title, no expectation, she did not fold inward. She stepped forward. He drew her close. Her body fit against his, as though the sea had shaped them both toward this. When she whispered his name again, Gale, it sounded less like invocation now and more like belonging. He answered in kind.
Oh, Sam.
The words settled over her like a blessing rather than a diminishment. Not Lady Samantha. Not heir. Not obligation. Sam. Salt-kissed, wind-strong, chosen. She exhaled against him, and he felt the moment she accepted it, not as something taken from her, but something she stepped into willingly. He kissed her again, slower now, exploring the curve of her shoulder, the hollow of her throat. She shivered not from cold, but from the intensity of being seen without armour. The lantern light flickered gold across skin and shadow. Outside, the sea moved in steady rhythm. Inside, they moved together, not hurried, not reckless, but with growing certainty. When he lifted her, she wrapped her arms around him without hesitation. When he lowered her to the berth, it was with care, as though laying something precious rather than claiming something won. There was heat, yes, but also laughter. Soft words. Her fingers threading into his hair, his breath warm at her ear. It was not conquest, it was convergence. Later, tangled in quiet warmth, she traced patterns across his chest as though mapping unfamiliar territory.
Oh, Sam.
He said again, softer this time. She smiled into the hollow of his shoulder.
I think I like who she is.
She admitted.
So do I.
He replied. And outside, somewhere in the dark, a night bird called. For now, it was not the lark. Chapter 9. The daylight. She woke first. Light filtered through the small stern window, pale and quiet. The sea was calmer than it had been in weeks, as though nothing had shifted at all. Gale lay beside her, one arm loosely draped across her waist, his breathing deep and even. Without the constant alertness of command, he looked younger, softer. She studied him, the curve of his shoulder, the faint scar beneath his collarbone, the rise and fall of his chest that she now knew the feel of beneath her palm. Careful, she traced a finger along his arm. He stirred. His eyes opened slowly, not startled, not guarded. And when they focused on her, warmth spread through them.
Good morning.
He murmured. She smiled.
Is it?
He tilted his head slightly.
That depends.
On cue, a distant call drifted across the water, a gull. Land was near enough for them to travel. Her smile faded. He noticed. The air shifted, not sharply, but inevitably.
We have time.
He said quietly.
How much?
A day. Perhaps 2 if the wind favours us.
She studied him carefully.
I do not wish to leave.
There it was. Plain. Undressed. Brave. His hand tightened slightly against her waist.
I know.
She frowned.
That is not an answer.
He pushed himself upright, drawing her with him. They sat facing one another now, knees touching, the thin sheet pulled loosely around them.
You have lands,
He said gently.
people.
I have expectations.
You have responsibility.
Her jaw set.
I have been happy here.
He smiled faintly.
So have I.
Then why must it end?
He reached up, brushing a strand of hair from her face, slower than he had the night before.
Because a harbour is not the ocean,
He said.
and an ocean is not a harbour.
She huffed softly.
You speak in riddles when you wish to avoid direct answers.
He chuckled under his breath.
You wish me to say that you may remain
Yes.
and abandon what waits for you?
Perhaps what waits for me can manage.
Can it?
Silence. Her eyes flickered, doubt creeping in despite herself.
You told me once
She said quietly.
that I was capable.
You are.
Then why not let me choose this?
He held her gaze steadily.
I am letting you choose,
Her throat tightened.
but I will not be the reason you flee what is yours to shape.
She looked away.
It would not be fleeing.
It would be postponing.
And if I wish to postpone?
He exhaled softly.
Sam,
The name steadied her and unmoored her all at once.
I left Waterdeep because I could not breathe in a life chosen for me.
He continued.
But I did not leave to avoid difficulty. I left to build something that was mine.
He took her hands.
You do not hate your lands. You hate the idea of being small within them.
Her breath caught.
You have seen what leadership can be.
He said.
Not inherited, earned.
And if I choose you?
His thumb brushed the back of her knuckles.
Then choose me when you are not choosing against something else.
Her eyes filled, not with the helpless grief of the wreck, but with frustration.
You are infuriatingly principled.
She whispered again. He smiled.
I have been told.
She leaned forward, resting her forehead against his.
It feels cruel.
She said.
It feels unfinished.
He corrected softly. Outside, another gull cried, clearer now. He drew back just enough to look at her fully.
A happy ending cannot come in the middle of the story.
He said quietly. Her breath stilled.
You would deny us joy for the sake of narrative symmetry?
I would deny you regret.
Silence settled between them, not empty, but weighted.
You are a hero.
She murmured faintly, and he shook his head.
No, I am a captain.
She let out a soft, unwilling laugh. He leaned in and kissed her, not with the heat of the night before, but with promise.
We have a day.
He said against her lips. Her fingers tightened in his hair.
Then we shall not waste it.
And outside, the sea carried them forward, toward land, toward choice, toward whatever would come when daylight could no longer be delayed. Chapter 10. The Cost of Looking Away. The day after their morning conversation felt lighter than it should have. They did not hide their closeness, but neither did they flaunt it. A brush of hands at the rail. A shared glance over rigging. A quiet laugh when Tara muttered something scandalized about public displays of affection. Samantha moved across the deck with ease now. She tied lines without instruction. She checked knots unprompted. She anticipated shifts in wind. Gale noticed. He noticed everything about her. That was the problem. He felt the storm too late. It came from the east, sudden, sharp-edged, a line of bruised clouds slicing the horizon. Normally, he would have read the pressure change hours before, would have adjusted course. Today, he had been watching her instead.
Reef!
he called sharply, snapping back into command. The crew moved instantly. Rain struck hard and fast. Wind tore at sails. Samantha grabbed a loose line before it whipped free. Thomas climbed to secure a snapping spar.
Thomas, down!
Gale shouted, but the wind stole the first syllable. The spar jerked violently. Thomas lost his footing. He fell, not from the mast top, but far enough. He hit the deck hard. The storm passed as quickly as it had arrived, sharp, violent, gone. Gale was already at Thomas's side. The young sailor groaned, clutching his arm.
Easy there.
Gale murmured, the same tone he had once used in a cabin with a grieving aristocrat. It was broken. Clean, but broken. Thomas would heal, but the guilt landed like ballast in Gale's chest. This should not have happened. He had been distracted. He had reached for joy. Later, when Thomas was splintered and resting, the crew dispersed quietly. No accusation, no blame. They trusted him. That made it worse. He stood alone at the rail. Rain still clung to the deck in dark streaks. Tara landed beside him.
You're brooding,
she observed.
I miscalculated.
You hesitated.
Yes, I did.
He admitted.
Because you were happy.
He did not answer.
I nearly cost him more than an arm.
He said instead.
You nearly cost him nothing permanent.
Tara corrected.
Storms come whether you are miserable or not.
I should have felt it.
You are not a god.
He turned sharply.
I am responsible.
And you are allowed to be human.
His jaw tightened.
I cannot afford to be careless.
You were not careless,
Tara said.
You were in love.
He flinched at the word.
You believe that joy invalidates competence.
She continued.
It does not. It complicates it.
He closed his eyes briefly.
I cannot lose someone because I chose.
You did not choose the storm.
Silence. Behind him, footsteps approached. Samantha. Her hair was wind-whipped, clothes damp, eyes clear. She had helped secure the last of the lines. She had not panicked. She had not hidden. She stopped beside him.
Thomas will recover,
she said quietly.
Yes.
And you?
He did not look at her.
I should have anticipated it.
You have anticipated every storm since I boarded this ship,
she replied.
You are not infallible.
That is precisely the issue.
She stepped closer.
You once told me leadership is earned.
It is.
Then allow yourself to be imperfect and still worthy.
He finally met her gaze.
You would have left your lands to remain here.
He said quietly.
Today proves why you must not.
Her breath stilled.
I would not be abandoning responsibility,
she began.
You would be exchanging one for another.
And you believe that wrong?
I believe you are meant to build something larger than this deck.
Her eyes shone, not with heartbreak now, but clarity. She understood. She had heard sailors call the sea a cruel mistress, demanding, unyielding. But standing beside Gale, she understood something else. The sea was not cruel. It simply required devotion. Storms came whether one was ready or not. People depended on those who stood steady. She reached for his hands.
I will go,
she said.
I will return to my lands. I will learn what it is to lead as you do.
His fingers tightened around hers.
And when they are steadied,
she lifted her chin.
I will come back.
Tara snorted softly.
She will,
the Tressim muttered. Gale searched her face.
You cannot promise that.
I can,
she said.
Not because I reject what waits for me, but because I choose you.
The difference mattered. He leaned his forehead briefly against hers.
Then I will wait.
Not idly,
she added.
Never idly.
The sea rolled beneath them, not punishing, not forgiving, simply constant. Sam, not Lady Samantha, stood tall beside him, not fleeing her duty, not abandoning her heart, becoming something capable of holding both. Chapter 11. The last night at sea. Land was visible by dusk, not close enough to distinguish buildings, but near enough that gulls circled and the air carried a different scent. Earth beneath salt. The crew moved with quiet efficiency, lines checked, course steady. Samantha stood at the rail longer than usual. Gale approached without speaking.
You can see it.
She said.
Yes, I do.
It feels final.
For now.
She exhaled slowly. They did not return to the cabin immediately. They stayed on deck until the stars came. It felt right. When they finally withdrew below, the air inside the cabin seemed smaller than it had before. Closer. She did not undress immediately. Instead, she sat at the edge of the berth, hands folded. Gale watched her carefully.
What is it?
He asked. She did not look at him.
I never told you how it happened.
He moved closer but did not touch her.
You do not have to.
I want to.
Silence stretched. Not empty, but heavy.
The deck was tilting.
She began quietly.
Father was shouting orders. My brother had my hand.
Her fingers curled unconsciously.
I remember thinking that if I held tightly enough, it would steady the ship.
Her voice trembled, not wildly, but with restraint.
He told me to let go, to move toward the lifeboat. I refused.
Gale's chest tightened.
He pushed me,
She whispered.
hard enough that I fell.
She swallowed.
When I stood again, they were gone.
The words hung between them like something sacred and fragile.
I was supposed to be strong.
She continued.
I was raised for it, for legacy, for responsibility.
She laughed softly, brittle.
And yet when it mattered, I could not even hold on.
Gale closed the distance between them then. He knelt before her, hands resting gently over hers.
You did not fail them.
She shook her head.
I was the one who lived, and only because of you.
But you did live. And that is the important part.
But I do not know if I am strong enough to carry what that means.
He lifted her hands to his chest, pressing them flat against his heart.
Strength is not proven in the moment of catastrophe.
He said quietly.
It is proven in what you build afterward.
Tears slid freely now, not resisted, not shamed.
I am afraid.
She admitted.
Of being alone, of being insufficient, of returning to halls that will feel hollow.
You will not be alone.
He said.
Because you will visit?
Because you will lead.
She looked at him then. Really looked.
And you?
She asked.
When I leave?
He did not flinch.
I will continue.
It was not dismissal. It was truth.
You are not my harbour.
He added softly.
You are my horizon.
Her breath caught. That broke something open in her, not grief this time, but certainty. She leaned forward and kissed him, not with urgency, but with intention. This was not escape. This was farewell woven with promise. His hands slid to her waist, steady and reverent. When he eased her back onto the berth, it was not to take, but to give. There was no frantic edge tonight, no need to prove. Every touch lingered longer. Every breath aligned more carefully. She traced the line of his shoulder, memorizing it. He kissed the hollow beneath her ear, slow enough that she shivered.
Oh, Gale.
She whispered. Not invocation now, not question. Promise.
Sam, my love.
He breathed. And the name no longer felt like borrowed clothing. It felt like chosen skin. Outside, the sea rolled beneath them, not jealous, not cruel, demanding. They did not rush the hours. They explored with tenderness, with laughter that dissolved into warmth, with quiet pauses where foreheads touched and breathing steadied. Later, tangled together beneath thinning starlight, she rested her head over his heart.
It's morning soon.
She murmured. He kissed her hair.
It is still night for now. No,
They held each other as the stars slowly gave way to pale grey dawn. And when the first true call of morning came, unmistakable now, neither pretended it was anything else. Chapter 12. The harbour. The harbour was loud. That was the first thing Samantha noticed. After weeks of wind and water and measured voices, the crush of dock workers, gulls, shouting merchants, and creaking masts felt almost overwhelming. The weave glided in, steady and sure. Samantha stood near the bow this time, not beside Gale at the helm. Not because she was distant, because she knew how to stand her own watch now. When the gangplank dropped, there was no dramatic hush, just the crew pretending very badly not to be paying attention. Thomas approached first, sling and all.
Well,
He said awkwardly.
try not to start tying up nobles in bowlines.
She huffed a laugh.
No promises.
He hesitated, then leaned in for a one-armed embrace. She hugged him carefully.
Don't break the other one.
She murmured.
I'll try not to fall off anything else.
You will not.
She corrected, instinctively firm. He grinned.
Yes, Sam.
No one blinked at the name now. Tara swooped down and landed on a crate near her boots.
You've improved.
The Tressum said, eyeing her up and down.
Marginally.
Samantha crouched slightly to meet her gaze.
You were always my greatest critic.
I was your only honest one.
Samantha smiled.
Take care of him.
Tara flicked her tail.
I always do.
Then she added quieter.
You'd better come back.
I will.
That left only Gale. He didn't stride toward her. He didn't posture. He just walked up, hands loose at his sides.
You've got sea legs now.
He observed.
I earned them.
You did.
The crew busied themselves loudly with ropes that did not require adjusting. Samantha stepped closer. No grand speech. She took his face in her hands and kissed him like someone who knew exactly what she was doing and didn't care who saw. Not frantic. Not scandalous. Just sure. A couple sailors coughed into their sleeves. One muttered something about damn time before someone elbowed him. When she pulled back, she rested her forehead briefly against his.
Don't sail into anything stupid.
She said softly.
I'll try to avoid dramatic self-sabotage.
She smiled.
That would be appreciated.
She stepped back onto the dock. This time she did look at him as she walked backward a few steps.
Gale.
Yes.
I love you.
He didn't hesitate.
I love you too, Sam.
Simple. True. She nodded once, like a captain acknowledging a course set, then turned toward the waiting officials further up the pier. Her posture shifted gradually as she approached them. Not colder. Stronger. Different armor. Gale watched her go until the crowd swallowed her shape. Tara hopped up to the rail beside him.
She'll be insufferable with authority,
Tara said.
She already is.
You'll miss her.
Yes.
He didn't dress it up, didn't hide it.
Cast off.
He called. The crew moved. The weave eased away from the dock, sails catching wind. Gale kept his eyes on the shore until it became coastline. Until coastline became suggestion. Until suggestion became memory. Then he turned back to the sea. Not bereft. Not punished. Simply waiting for the horizon to curve back toward him. Chapter 13. Correspondence.
To Captain Gale Dekarios, aboard the Weave, wherever the wind has carried you. Gale, I am told that a duchess ought to begin correspondence with something suitably formal. You will forgive me if I do not. The first council meeting was a disaster. Not visibly, not politically, but internally, I felt as though I were once again staring at a coil of rope with no idea where to begin. They expected authority, certainty, inheritance. I gave them questions. There were raised brows. There were subtle sighs. I asked to see the ledgers myself. That startled them more than anything. You would have enjoyed it. The steward attempted to explain the grain tariffs as though I were 5 years old. I let him finish. Then I corrected his arithmetic. Thomas would have been proud. I have begun visiting the outer farms without announcement. It unsettles my advisors, which I consider proof of its necessity. The people are not what I was taught to see from carriage windows. They are tired, capable, suspicious of kindness. I do not blame them. I think often of what you said, that leadership is built, not inherited. I feel very much at the beginning of construction. I am lonely at times. Not because I am alone in rooms, those are full, but because none of them know what it is to stand on a deck and feel wind choose direction. I miss the sea. I miss you. There, I have written it plainly. Tara would approve of the lack of pretense. Tell Thomas I have ordered new rigging techniques studied for estate shipments. I suspect he will be insufferably pleased to have influenced maritime reform. And you? Do not forget to watch the eastern sky at dusk. It has been particularly vivid here. I choose this work, Gale. But I do not choose it instead of you. Sam.
Several weeks later.
To Lady Samantha Alderwyn. Alderwyn Manor, who has clearly begun terrorising minor officials with admirable precision. Point to me. Sam. The image of you correcting arithmetic mid-council has sustained morale aboard the Weave for 3 consecutive evenings. Thomas insists he taught you better not logic than financial logic, but he concedes the crossover is respectable. The eastern sky has been vivid here as well. We skirted a shoal 3 nights past that would have cost a less attentive captain a mast. I thought of you, not as distraction, but as calibration. You would have spotted the shift in current now. That pleases me more than it should. I'm glad you are visiting the outer farms. Grain does not respect titles any more than rope does. It demands understanding. You say the people are suspicious of kindness? They will not remain so. Consistency erodes suspicion more effectively than decree. You are not constructing alone. You are building upon foundations your father attempted to lay, whether you recognize them at the time or not. Loneliness is a quieter storm than the one that broke your first ship. It is also navigable. As for missing the sea is patient. As am I. Tara says to inform you that she remains the superior influence in my life, and that your absence has improved my punctuality, but diminished my amusement. This is false. My punctuality was already impeccable. I miss you. Plainly. Return when your land stands steady beneath you. I will be where I have always been, on the horizon. Gale.
Chapter 14. The horizon returns. Word reached the estate before the sails were visible. A merchant vessel had docked at dawn and mentioned a familiar ship in the bay. Dark hull, precise rigging, a tressim perched like royalty near the mainmast. Samantha did not wait for confirmation. She did not convene council. She did not finish the correspondence on her desk. She walked swiftly at first, then faster down the path toward the harbour. Not Lady Samantha. Not yet. Sam. The docks were busy, fishermen hauling nets, children darting between crates, dockhands shouting rates. And there, cutting cleanly through the morning light, the Weave. Her breath caught. It was smaller than she remembered, or perhaps the harbour made it seem so. The sails lowered with practiced grace, lines were thrown, the hull nudged the dock with quiet familiarity. She was already at the edge of the pier when the gangplank dropped. Gale stepped onto the dock. For half a second they simply stared. He looked sun-browned and wind-marked, exactly as he had the day she left. And yet different, expectant. She did not walk. She ran. He met her halfway. They collided, not violently, but completely. His arms wrapped around her, lifting her clear off the dock without thought. She laughed against his mouth before he even kissed her. Then he did. It was not restrained. It was not measured. It was relief. Her hands fisted in his shirt. His grip tightened at her waist. The harbour noise blurred into irrelevance. Somewhere behind them, someone whooped. Tara's voice cut through the air.
Well, finally.
They did not care who saw. When they broke apart, they did not step away, foreheads touching, breathing each other in.
You came.
She whispered.
I said I would.
You were supposed to wait.
I grew impatient.
She smiled, eyes bright.
I have not finished everything.
I did not expect you to.
I am still building.
So am I.
She pulled back just enough to look at him fully.
I have missed you.
I have missed you too.
He replied, without poetry this time. Simple. True. Behind him, Thomas leaned on the rail, grinning openly.
Told you she'd come back.
He muttered to a nearby sailor. Tara fluttered down and landed on Samantha's shoulder without invitation.
You took long enough,
The Tressim said. Samantha laughed.
I am busy.
You are happy?
Tara corrected. Samantha glanced at Gale.
Yes,
She said.
I am.
He set her gently back onto the dock but did not release her hand.
Show me.
He said.
My lands?
Your work.
Her chin lifted, not defensively now, but proudly.
Very well, Captain.
He smirked.
Gale.
She squeezed his hand.
Gale.
And together, they walked toward the rising town, not abandoning ship nor shore, but bridging them. The sea rolled quietly behind them. Not jealous. Not cruel. Waiting. Epilogue. The same sky. It was later than it should have been. The estate slept. Council chambers dark, kitchens quiet, lamps dimmed in distant cottages. Samantha stood at the edge of the terrace overlooking her lands, fields silvered by moonlight, hedgerows casting long shadows, the river threading through like a ribbon of glass. Behind her the manor rose solid and familiar. Before her, the world stretched outward. Gale joined her without announcement. He had changed into simpler clothes, though salt still seemed to cling to him, no matter how long he remained ashore.
You have extended the irrigation channels.
He observed.
You noticed.
I notice.
She smiled faintly. They stood shoulder to shoulder. Above them the sky unfolded, vast and unbroken. Orion burned steady on the horizon.
There.
He said softly.
I know.
She replied. She no longer needed him to point. Silence settled between them. Not awkward, not anticipatory. Full.
When I first stood on your deck,
She said.
I believed the sea and the land were different worlds.
They are.
He answered. She shook her head slightly.
No, only different surfaces.
He considered that. The same stars arced over field and water alike. The same constellations guided ship and plough.
The sky does not choose between them,
She murmured.
No.
and neither must we.
His hand found hers. Not urgent, not possessive. Steady,
You have built something here,
he said.
So have you.
and we will continue.
Yes.
A breeze moved across the terrace, softer than ocean wind but present. She leaned lightly against him.
Do you miss it?
She asked.
The sea?
Yes.
He smiled.
I do not miss what I carry.
She understood. She did not belong to the sea anymore. She did not belong only to land. She belonged to herself. And to him. In choice. In motion. Above them, Arathiel's lantern held steady, not marking return, not marking departure. Simply north. They stood together beneath it, horizon and harbour, captain and duchess, Gale and Sam, and the sky was the same everywhere.